WATP.
Did we do Tom Myers last time you were on the show?
No, but I have seen him. Stand-up comedian.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay.
I did him with you on stage.
That's right. We covered Tom when you were on our live show in Largo. Okay. So he does a political show, and he starts off with a monologue. He very much thinks he's Bill Maher, the way he writes these jokes and delivers them. He's nowhere near that. Not even close. This first one is a bit wordy.
Hello, and welcome to the spring 2025 session of Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. A lot's happened since we've been away.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Was Tom Myers versus the world taken?
So someone else has pointed this out because his word economy for joke writing is awful. He always uses way too many words, even in the title of the show.
That's a perfect example of it.
Yes.
It's like, I get it. I get completely what we're doing here.
Yeah, we didn't think you were including yourself in the rest of the world. Yeah.
In case you've decided not to pay attention to the news, and who could blame you, Donald Trump is now president of the United States again. He started his term by taking an early victory lap when he boasted that he brought back TikTok. So now we can hold bringing unfunny comedians into headline clubs against him in what I hope will be his eventual war crimes tribunal.
Okay.
Did anyone understand that? So I understand that joke, but he's coming at it from like a comedian's standpoint, where a lot of these clubs now are getting TikTokers are coming in and headlining because they have a huge following on TikTok, and so they can bring people in. They're not really stand-up comics. But that's where Tom's mind went to, is just like, oh, he brought back TikTok, which means TikTok famous people will do shows at comedy clubs, and maybe we can use that against Trump when he has his war crime trial for all those war crimes.
I think he was trying to say that Trump, that because of the comedians that will be now coming out to back Trump or whatever. I get what he's saying, and it's sort of funny.
I think you're right. Please elaborate on that. I want to hear what you think, because this is what the beauty of Tom Myers. It's such a jumbled mess. It can be interpreted multiple ways.
Okay, so he's saying now that, like, all right, these canceled comedians that obviously he doesn't like where they're coming from. I will like where they're coming from. Maybe they're kind of cringe and just like, conservative ink, but they're going to have their time to shine now that the culture is sort of changing. I just find it boneheaded for anybody to say this when it's clearly been the opposite. Like, we had a Netflix special of a lady, I forget her name, but she just went up there and just preached at people. There was not one joke, but she got a Netflix special and tons of money. And now that things are changing, now he's like upset about it, and they haven't even really changed yet. So I'm like, it's an interesting admission.
Let me listen to it again now that I've heard your thought on this. Let me see. I'm going to listen to this. And producer Chris, please, let me know your take on it.
In case you've decided not to pay attention to the news, and who could blame you, Donald Trump is now president of the United States again. He started his term by taking an early victory lap when he boasted that he brought back TikTok. So now we can hold bringing unfunny comedians into headline clubs against him in what I hope will be his eventual war crimes tribunal.
Two separate thoughts that don't make sense. So he brought back TikTok, one thought.
Yep.
And then he's scared that he's going to bring back unfunny comedians, people like, let's say he's describing like an Owen Benjamin type that will probably be allowed to play clubs again. And he's conflating. I don't know why the conflation of the two doesn't quite make sense, but I understand the political dynamic, which again to me is bizarre because we have been listening to kind of like left wing comedy for a while, and it's I don't know, it's a little bit played out now. It's a little dated, so we need something fresh. But I think that's what he's trying to get at.
The wording on it is also.
So now we can hold bringing unfunny comedians into headline clubs against him and
hold unfunny comedians headline clubs against him. You know what I mean? It's like there needs to be a comma, maybe a period.
That's where I got lost.
Right? Yeah. It's okay. That was the first joke. He's been off months. He comes back. That's the first joke he had.
I'm trying, guys.
None
Perhaps
of us
I'm just
can figure out what he's talking about.
Oh, you're doing better than us, man.
You presented me a retarded person, and I'm trying to really decipher what's.
I know. That's what I'm asking you to do. You're doing the right thing. I appreciate that. Let's move on. Let's hear the second joke. It probably gets better.
Trump signed several executive orders to kick off his second term, one of which renamed Mount Denali Mount McKinley. after the former president. One of McKinley's descendants said it was a great move because William McKinley had unparalleled integrity and people respected him. McKinley was assassinated, so we know there was at least one who didn't.
Okay, so that joke right there, we get the patented. Do you know there was one that didn't? Yeah. You know, also he turns into a Scottish guy when he's telling that type of joke for some reason.
I get it. There's at least some form to. Who's the lady that's laughing? There's somebody else there with him?
Yeah, so what he does is he has a panel. There's 3 other people on this panel, and he forces them to listen to his monologue. And then they used to not react at all, and now they feel like obligated to giggle. And sometimes there's like really long pauses because they didn't realize the punchline already hit. There's an example of that coming up. But yes, it's so awkward.
I was hoping that there was no punchline to this. There was a punchline, which is I'll give him. I like this. I like it. Not my type of comedy, but I like that there was a resolution. So good on you.
All right. Well, and fun fact: President McKinley was shot in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, there you go.
Good stuff. All right. This one's a doozy. Talking about the January 6th pardons.
Trump issued pardons to all the January 6th defendants. One of them reportedly said that the pardons are part of God's revival. I think the pardoning of January 6th defendants is God's revival in the same way that the Great Flood and wiping out most of humanity is as well.
That's a timeline cleanse.
I like it. And this is this is what Nephilim Death Squad is about. And to bring it back to me, which is what this fucking show is about, me, Nephilim Death Squad is about Genesis 6, chapter 6, verse 4, where God kills the earth in a flood. And a lot of people say, oh, it's because the earth was wicked. And some people who like me think it was to cleanse the world of the Nephilim. So I'm trying to understand this along normie lines, what he's saying. Trump did what again to cleanse the...
One of the people who got out of prison, one of the January 6th protesters, said that this is like... let me play that part of it again, because, this is very confusing. Let's see what he says.
One of them reportedly said that the pardons are part of God's revival.
Part of God's revival.
Okay, no.
Sure.
I like your energy.
I'm sure that was widely reported, Tom. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So he turns that into... The other thing that Tom does, he doesn't realize, like when you write a punchline, it has to hit at the end. Yes. You can't have a punchline and then more words after it like this.
I think the pardoning of January 6th defendants is God's revival in the same way that the Great Flood and wiping out most of humanity is as well.
And wiping out most of humanity is as well.
Yeah.
It's never the end of a joke.
He had a tag and then a couple of stragglers and just dragged them across the line.
Yeah. He just be like, maybe like the floods. You got to end with the thing. And then if you're going to make it work.
Here's what I'm gleaming from this. And I don't know if you guys know that you're doing this to yourself, but he is doing, I don't know if it's comedy or whatever the fuck you want to call this, but it's in a very Kubrick-esque fashion. It's not visual. I'm only getting it like through audio, but Kubrick throughout all of his films does these things like The Shining. Have you ever seen that movie?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. The host is, when he's walking them through the hotel before he leaves, the black dude, he walks them into a cooler. He goes, here's the cooler. And then he walks them out of this. It's the refrigerator. And it's like the same shot when they come out, but it's in a different place. Mm-hmm. Like everything's on the wrong side. Or there'll be like a picture frame and it'll be here in one shot. Then the next shot, it's gone. Or a sticker on the wall and then it'll be gone for no reason. It's like tiny inconsistencies. One of them that was great is Danny's playing on the floor with cars and they're like zooming in on him. Mm-hmm. And then as they go closer to him, the floor pattern is now flipped because they moved him, switched him around, but put the cars in the same spot intentionally to make you feel like you're going fucking crazy. And I feel like that's what this guy is doing. He's doing a lot of inconsistencies. I don't know. They're probably not on purpose. Maybe he's just retarded himself.
Yeah, Kubrick was a genius. This is Tom Myers we're talking about. But I see where you're going with this. You're trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
So what I'm saying, Kubrick did it to make you feel disoriented while you're watching this horror film. Or he did Clockwork Orange as well. It's riddled with this kind of shit. Just subliminal things like that to make you feel uneasy and like he's just shaking you. This is what Tom Myers is doing to me right now. He's just fucking shaking me.
Because I am feeling woozy. Someone in the chat said I've only listened to one joke so far and I'm already exhausted.
Exactly. That's what it.
Yeah,
Who said that?
Whoa, I
Precisely.
can't remember who said that, but yeah, this is. Well, all right, let's play joke number 4 because I have to say, props on the word economy on this one.
Oh.
Very rarely do we get a joke like this.
Trump tried to suppress Jack Smith's January 6th report because it's likely that he'll be mentioned in it more times than on Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs.
And that's how you write a joke, Tom.
Yeah, it didn't end with a preposition.
Yeah.
as well.
Honestly, one of my least favorite jokes that he's told today.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's washed. It's not really original. The other stuff,
Right.
at least he's grasping at originality. But yeah, unfortunately, doesn't land any of it.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying this political humor because now we're going to start talking about Mike Johnson.
Speaker of the House Mike Johnson says everywhere he goes now, people cheer for him and his fellow Republicans. I think Mike Johnson is confused. Guttural booing and chants of "go fuck yourself" aren't cheers.
Okay, so that's probably the worst joke he's ever written.
It's mean. The problem is it's
No, let's break this down. He goes, yeah, Mike Johnson says that all of a sudden Republicans are getting cheered everywhere they go, but he's probably mistaking that for booze.
yeah. But it's also like the tag on like "go fuck yourself." Like it's it's not funny because I can tell that he means it. Like
he's angry.
He's angry, and that's never funny. You have to
Correct.
detach yourself from it. Yeah.
All right, well, here's another Mike Johnson joke. I don't know how this one's going to go over with you.
Mike Johnson looks like a cross between an altar boy and the priest who abused him.
Okay. I appreciate it. I like it.
All right,
You don't like that one?
maybe in a roast you can get away with a quick one like that.
Well, because he just said "go fuck yourself," right?
Yeah.
And then he said the altar boy and the priest that abuse him. So it's almost like he's fucking himself.
Well, you're
That's
right.
where my mind went.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're really seeing
don't give
the imagery in all of this.
Don't give him the credit. It's probably just like he's just angry. Like if he wasn't angry, I could be like, this was crafted. He's mad. But that's where my brain went with it.
I want to be a fly on the wall when Tom Myers watches this and he's like, yeah, I am like Kubrick.
Yeah, right. Find me a guy who gets me.
Yeah, this guy gets it.
Give him my number. I'll feed him bullshit all day. It's great.
All right, let's talk about Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell is no longer the leader of the Senate Republicans, but is now the chair of the Senate Ethics Committee, which is ideal because if anyone ever asks him about the possibility of releasing a report on ethics charges of his fellow senators, he can freeze and not answer the question.
Okay.
So a guilty pleasure of mine, got to admit, watching old people have strokes on stage has been very funny to
Mitch
me.
McConnell specifically. It's happened twice now. It's fun.
I think it's maybe 4 times.
Oh, okay.
The latest time, his legs just decided, like he's walking on stage and his legs said, and they just like straightened up. And he just very funny.
I have not seen that. Okay, good.
I wonder what mine's going to be like.
Hopefully it's on this show. I want to get some clicks, baby. You know how many thumbnails are going to make? Producer Chris's stroke thumbnails.
Did you know Toad had a seizure? A grand
No.
mal? Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. During
It was
the show?
catastrophic. No, at his job.
Oh, it's not fun.
Apparently it's catastrophic, but I mean, must have been hilarious.
Speaking of hilarious, here's the next joke. Joke number 8 of the monologue, everyone.
The new leader of the Senate Republicans is South Dakota Senator John Thune. If you don't know who John Thune is, imagine Dr. Frankenstein building a monster and using Ronald Reagan's skin.
That one I don't even get.
I don't get it either.
Yeah, I really don't understand what he's going for on that one.
It's just to be mean. Like we get it. You don't like these people.
It's just mean. Also, Frankenstein wasn't trying to build a monster.
No, it just was a byproduct.
Yeah, give the guy some credit. Let's get into some race jokes, some race humor, because as we all know, Trump's a pretty big racist. So let's hear this.
Donald Trump's new cabinet looks to be mostly white people, despite the pledges he made to people of color and the support he received from African Americans, Latinos, etc. It's fitting that his black supporters are the first ones he ditched, as the second Trump administration promises to be just like a horror movie.
Oof. Big leap on that one. We thought the TikTok one was confusing.
Yeah, this was a mess.
Okay, Tom, when you watch this, here is where you could have went.
Yeah.
So All right. The rest of the stuff you said in the beginning was just, I'm trying to write it off as like bullshit. Like a lot of it's propaganda, and I'm trying to detach my political mind from it.
Let's not worry about that. All right, moving on. Yeah.
Jokes, purely jokes. What you could have done was somehow equate so horror movie and black people, the first people to be killed in horror movies. You could have done something there that they were killed off immediately, like in the horror movies. But you might have had to like cross a line that would have made you look actually racist. And unfortunately, you can't do that. So therefore, you can't be funny. Very sad.
Yeah.
Bad news.
The leap to the horror movie thing, like he just doesn't know how to connect thoughts well. He's just like, okay.
It's there, though. There's something.
Maybe. I wouldn't be able to figure it out either. But all right, let's talk about Pete Hegseth.
Trump has really set the bar low for his cabinet appointments. Imagine if you did half the shit that Pete Hegseth did or was accused of, and your boss found out. Jim, you've been getting drunk on the job too much. You're acting out of control at company parties, and you're making your female coworkers uncomfortable. You're not qualified to stock shelves on the graveyard shift anymore. The only job for which you're qualified is Secretary of Defense of the United States of America.
Now that got some clapter right there. That wasn't a good punchline at all. Everyone saw where he was going with that. Like, you got to do a misdirect on that one. You can't just say the job he actually has been confirmed for.
Yes, and this leads back to his first joke, doesn't it? The joke about the comedians from the right wing perspective. Mm-hmm. We've had clapter for the last 4 years, or at least like mainstream accepted and pushed clapter.
Right.
And it seems like that's what he wants more of.
Oh, yeah, that's what he's looking for. That's why he has these people on the panel who are sitting there and going, yeah, he doesn't deserve that job, that drunk. Yep, you got that.
It's disgusting.
Well done. So this is, he's still talking about how Pete Hegseth has a drinking problem in this next joke. And I think Tom is stretching the truth about his own lifestyle.
Imagine the reality that's going to hit Pete Hegseth when he finally comes to the realization that this job is much harder than being a weekend anchor on Fox. Like, we've all done stupid stuff while drinking, like woken up with some strange partner next to us in bed, gotten a tattoo. Imagine getting so fucked up that you wake up the next morning and find out that you're in control of the entire United States military.
All right.
And now on with the show. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Hyson, Polite Kitty, and Jess Feeney.
That was his big closer right there. So Tom is never, he doesn't know how to relate to people who go out and get drunk and the next morning have regrets. Yeah. You know, like when you wake up next to that partner or you get a tattoo.
He's like normal human being things, know.
Tom has never done either of those things. He's never woken up with a girl in his bed. That's for damn sure.
His own cat doesn't like him.
Yeah, that's for sure. I guarantee, like, getting drunk and then getting a tattoo, that you got to make an appointment, and they're not open real late sometimes. I mean, that's a difficult thing to pull off, honestly.
I'm looking at your chat now, and they said that it's a classic trope of people trying to fix Tom's jokes. Do people constantly do this?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Well, it's hard not to. Because you hear him tell you a joke and you're like, oh my gosh, that you could have gone in such a better direction with that or something. Like Pat Oates comes on here, does a phenomenal job explaining joke structure and how to actually structure these jokes properly. But you can't teach this guy. He will not learn.
It's nice that he has it. It's almost like this thing that he presents you where you can take it and make it good, but it's just bad right now. I like that. It's like a workshop.
Yeah. No, I enjoy this aspect of it where we can sit there and go, all right, well, that's terrible. What if he tried this or tried something like that? Here's another joke he throws there in the middle of the podcast.
I'm convinced that 2025 is going to be a great year because this may finally be the year when the planet decides to say fuck it and burn itself out of existence. In fact, once the United States has been defeated in World War III, the final message that all of humanity will hear will be this. DQ Zai Xiao Wing, Erwo Zai Ting Zishi Fei Hua.
I was not ready for that.
No.
He's just doing a Chinese guy?
That just made my favorite Tom Myers joke. Top of the list.
It's pretty good.
Does he know, Tom, do you know that that's actually racist? Yeah, you just put on yellow face?
That's what's so great about it.
Why don't you lay off
Shame
the
on
Asians?
There goes Saturday Night Live for Tom Myers.
Yeah.
Oh wow. You had a
Don't
shot
worry,
at
though.
it.
Shane's done great after. I'm
That's
sure
true,
you'll follow
yeah.
his trajectory.
I'm sure he'll do well. Do you know who Earl Skakel is?
No.
Earl Skakel is a comic. He was on TV briefly for these rap battles and things. I got to meet him out in Las Vegas last year at Hackamania. He was one of the headliners at that show, and he's very much not very much. He's been in the orbit of like Misery Loves Company with Kevin Brennan and stuff. And Tom Myers is all in on that world now. Tom Myers is in the chat. Every Chad Zumach show, every Kevin Brennan show, like any show like that, you see Tom Myers in the chat. So I guess Tom reached out to Earl and got Earl on his show. And Earl's a good stand-up comic. So I'm like, great. Let's see a real comic on the show. Let's see what he can do. Let's go.
It's an honor to be here. It's a great panel, I must say, Tom. You've assembled a good group.
Thank you.
So, Earl, thank you so much for joining the show. I mean, what are your thoughts on what's been going on so far? Your thoughts on just humanity in general at this point?
First off, horrible question. Not a question at all. What are your thoughts on what's been going on so far and humanity in general?
Like breathing air, eating. What do you mean?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like, just, hey, Earl, just say anything now.
Yeah, it
Your
wasn't
turn.
broad enough with what's been going on, but humanity. Go.
All right, let's see what this very funny roast comic does with that.
Well, just the fact that Elon Musk is is J.D. Vance even the vice president? I mean, it seems like Musk has more juice than he does. And, I voted for Trump in 2020. 2016, I said, let me see how he does first 4 years. It's like a cool episode of The Apprentice. And then I just couldn't vote for him anymore. The felony convictions, the 36 women accusing him of various things. I mean, they all ain't lying.
Good stuff, Earl. Thanks so much for coming on and giving us your hot take.
I hate when they do this to stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
So they, Bill Burr is one of the latest where they're like, Bill Burr, very funny guy. You can fucking make a joke out of anything. Give us your political takes. And then I'm like, it's like, stop it, man. Let this like, you're a chef, and then I ask you to farm. These are different things. Let them be funny.
It's like a Hedberg joke. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
All right, here's the final thought. He likes to give his final thought at the end of the program.
But before we go, I like to conclude with this brief final thought. My prediction for the next few years is that it will blow by and will be over before we know it, owing to the fact that people will take so many drugs that it will block out this entire period for many of them. People ask if I'm worried about harassing direct messages or even death threats because of some of the things I say on this show. My thought is this. If it gets to the point where at the moment my life is being drained from me, if I have an orgasm when it happens, then at least I will have led a charmed life.
Yes.
Peace out, lots of love, and good day, everybody.
What the fuck was that?
The biggest mess so far.
If it turns out I'm having an orgasm while I'm dying, happy days. What?
His incentive structure is fucked.
Yes.
Like he doesn't understand what a joke is, and he also doesn't understand what is good or funny. So he just thinks like I guess he's thinking masturbation, coming. That's great. That's funny. Throw that in there with whatever. It's a mess.
Well, also, so, these people, the sky is falling. Trump is the president again. It's the end of the world. And they're like, well, everyone's just going to be on drugs for the next 4 years. Probably just forget everything that happened over the next 4 years. Like, yeah. Good stuff, Tom.
Who are these podcasts?